Good blessed Saturday, March the 9th, 2022. It's about 7:30 p.m. I greet all you human beings around the world with the universal greetings of peace and the blessings of God be with you. It doesn't matter what your political, philosophical, personal, nor your religious beliefs may be. It doesn't matter whether you're the richest to the poorest person on the face of this earth. It doesn't even matter whether you the proclaimed toughest to the proclaimed weakest person on the face of this earth. It doesn't matter if you my family, friends, nor my proclaimed enemies. It doesn't even matter whether you like me or anything that I say, do, or how I look. That's your prerogative. You got a right. There's things that I don't like about people. There's people that I don't like for the things that they do. But never would I go attack them for something what they say, because they have a First and a 14th Amendment right to say what they want to say, you know. But anyway, what I want to just show y'all something. I'm going to show a video that I showed before after this here. It's about a police officer by the name of Mark Higgins. I think he spelled his last name Higgin. I don't know if an S is on the end of it or not, but you will see his face and you will know him. It's something that he did and who he did it for. And the reason he did it, it makes me think that it makes me believe that there is white supremacists within the Charleston, Missouri Police Department. There's no doubt it makes me believe that it's white supremacists in the Charleston, Missouri Housing Authority, starting with the chief executive. And I'm going to show you why. You don't have to be a law enforcement agent to know that if a store don't want you coming in their store anymore, and they tell you not to come in there anymore, if you do, they gonna have you prosecuted or arrested, but they haven't taken any legal steps to do it. It's not the job of the city of Charleston, Missouri, who I pay taxes to have one of their officers, because they are friends of the individual that owns the store, and bring me a letter saying that he don't want me or she don't want me in their store. You see what I'm saying? It's the job of the store themselves, unless they go through a court procedure or a legal procedures. Now, this individual, Mark Higgins, he has a history. He was a police officer here in Charleston, Missouri once before. Some years back. I don't think it'd been maybe 5 or 6 years ago, give or take. But he left here to run for chief of police in East Prairie, Missouri. He won. He got an officer from down here that he brought from Charleston, Missouri to down there with him and made him captain, and he was chief. But Mark Higgins didn't have a good record down there in East Prairie, because to the best of my knowledge, and I could be wrong, and if I'm wrong, somebody correct me, East Prairie, I believe, is probably 90% white. And I'm not saying this on the racial side. You see what I'm saying? But Mark Higgins had a dispatcher that when his term was up as chief to run again, his female dispatcher must have not been pleased with the way Mark Higgins was running the East Prairie Police Department. Again, East Prairie is about 90% white, if not very close to it. And that's nothing to say about the prejudice, but Mark Higgins is white. It's something when the people of East Prairie, the majority of people that voted in East Prairie, they wanted Mark Higgins out of that position as a chief for a reason. You see what I'm saying? I can begin to tell y'all a couple of reasons. One, before he went down there, he was with his supervising sergeant when I used to have a cameraman doing my videos for me. And he was there, him and another officer, when his sergeant threatened my cameraman and told him if he hand over those videos that we just made about the violence in Charleston, Missouri, he was going to arrest me and my cameraman. My cameraman called and told me. And I told my cameraman to tell him to come on over here and arrest me, because I know he couldn't, because we have a First and a 14th Amendment right of freedom of speech, assembly, long as all of it is peaceful. And our video was most definitely peaceful. But Mark Higgins came and told me that he was there when his sergeant did it. He said, I didn't have nothing to do with it. Well, if you didn't have nothing to do with it and you seen your sergeant doing something illegal and you took an oath, to God that you will serve and protect the people. My cameraman is part of the people. He's a taxpayer here in Charleston, Missouri. I'm part of the people. I'm a taxpayer. So that showed me that you took an oath in front of God. You don't even respect God because you took an oath. Then here it is on August. Matter of fact, that was on May the 19th. It might have been 2014 or 15. It was on Malcolm X's birthday when they did that. But then just recently on March the 12th, 2015, 2022, this same officer, Higgins, he came to my house twice. We seen him on our security cameras coming. He had on a jacket, something like this. It didn't nothing on it I didn't see, just said Charleston, Missouri Police Department, but he had the oldest SUV, and you can see it in my YouTube video. When he pulled up, one of my vehicles was here and one of them wasn't. And he came to knock on my door. He had a letter in his hand. A letter that has nothing to do, if you can see what that say Charleston, Missouri Housing Authority. It wasn't sealed. It wasn't even licked or nothing. It wasn't sealed, but it was a letter from Paul Page. Now, when he didn't see me here and knocked on my door, he even tried to open my screen door. He was trespassing because he had no legal right to be here. That's their private property, no trespassing. It says it all over the house. He was trespassing. But anyway, when I got back to the house, we identified who he was, and I called the police department and asked them, can they have Mark Higgins to come back over to my house so I can see what was the nature of his business? Because he's a police officer. If he came to my house, it must be some type of legal reason, a complaint that somebody made to the police department, or somebody made to the prosecuting attorney, or somebody made to the judge. But no, when he come back, he told me that his co-worker, Curtis, another police officer, not a supervisor, but an officer that was getting off, said he came by, he didn't see my car. If the officer told him that, that's a lie, because he came by, it was only one of my vehicles here, so they don't know if anybody in my house or not, because there's only 3 people besides God that live in my house, and that's me and my 2 daughters. You see what I'm saying? So we know if he said his police code worker said he came by before his shift ended and didn't see my car, we know that's a lie, because he said on the video, and you would listen to it, he said when he came by, one of the vehicles was here. And he knocked on the door anyway, but didn't nobody answer. You see what I'm saying? But when I called back and asked him to come back, that was the second time he came back. He wasn't trespassing this time because I asked him to come back so I can see the nature. Now, he tell me that Paul paid, his co-worker, Officer Curtis, first he said, if you listen to him real good, when you lie, you have to keep lying. You have to continue to add on to it. First he said, his co-worker, Officer Curtis, he was leaving the shift. He didn't see my car, so he wasn't able to give me the letter that Paul Page gave him to serve me. The Charleston, Missouri Police Department do not work for Paul Page, the executive director of the Charleston, Missouri Housing Authority, and there's no legal binding with this letter. So when Mark Higgins came over here, he did what he wanted to do. He thought he was going to intimidate me. I know he didn't think about his size. Maybe he think because of his skin color in his badge. But neither one of them frightened me. If you seen him when he was talking to me, he was disgusted because I was breaking him down. You see what I'm saying? He kept doing this here. And the questions that I asked him, do you work for the housing authority? He said no. Is Bobby Hearns, Robert Bobby Hearns, your chief? Is he the director of the police department, which you work for? Charleston, Missouri. He said yes. I said, did he tell you to come? So he had no reason at all. And I know Robert Hearns know about this here. I know for a fact the city manager do, because I went down and asked the city manager. I explained him the situation. He said Officer Mark Higgins had no reason at all. Do y'all hear me? No reason at all to come bring me that letter. But you see, from what I see right now, the Charleston, Missouri Police Department or no other city apologized to me what Mark Higgins did, because to me and my two young daughters, 15 and 16 years old, he was a white supremacist that came on my property by trespassing the first time, to attempt to intimidate me by serving me a letter that he had no authority at all to bring to me. I hadn't committed a crime. The city or the police department didn't tell him to bring it. He did it because he wanted to. That's why he's not the chief of police down in East Prairie, Missouri. The white people got him up out of there. You see, but see, you can leave other places and come to Charleston, Missouri. All right now, y'all have a nice weekend. All right. You can come to Charleston, Missouri and get on the Charleston, Missouri Police Department and don't even know the law. You don't even have to have an understanding of the law. But that ain't right. You see what I'm saying? If Mark Higgins did me like this here for Paul Page a favor, how many people had this man probably done killed? All right now, how many people, black people, had this man probably arrested? He not only did this for Paul Page, but he did it for a white family. He didn't like the fact that me standing up against, I don't care if they black or white, I'm gonna stand up against Rome. If you continue to disrespect me, my family, and my property, I've been living here for 15 years. 15 years. And I'm not gonna sit here and let Paul Page, no white or black family, no white racist police come to my house and try to intimidate me. You see, I'm sending this to the United States Justice Department in Washington, D.C., and I'm going to tell you why. Because Mark Higgins did something that wasn't legal. You see, these papers here, it ain't but three things. The last one, it just explains stuff to you about retaliation. Those of y'all that have complaints about Paul Page in the Charleston, Missouri Housing Authority, I know a lot of blacks do. I told you before, go to the Human Rights Commission. I done already filed mine. I even got a complaint number. I signed it today and emailed it back. So Monday, it'll officially be stamped and sent back to me. You see what I'm saying? To let Paul Page know and let Mark Higgins know, not only am I coming to show the wrong that Paul Page did as a white man taking advantage of his position, but Mark Higgins too. What Mark Higgins did, that's what the Ku Klux Klan used to do. That's how they got Emmett Tibbs out of his house. People like Mark Higgins, Paul Page. They abuse their authority. You see what I'm saying? But the only way you gonna get these people and put them in checkmate, like the former federal judge now voted in as a United States Supreme Court Justice, Ketanji Brown Jackson, she stood up against Josh Hawley, a racist. She stood up against Ted Cruz, a racist, and some of them other racist Republican representatives that tried to defame her character in front of her two little children, in front of her husband. Her husband is white, but he a doctor. Her children is mixed, but they stood with their mother, and their mother stood there and took that humiliation and fired right back. That's what I'm doing, Paul Page, firing right back at you. You ain't above the law. Mark Higgins, you ain't above the law. And Robert Hearns and whoever running City Hall, Mark Higgins needs to be taken off the police department. He needs to be disciplined. But I know y'all ain't gonna do nothing to him. You see what I'm saying? When these cameras, hopefully nothing happen to none of your officers coming through here, because I'm gonna delete it all. Y'all don't respect us, we don't respect y'all. Just because you don't like me, if I call you, it's your job to serve and protect my daughters and them. But y'all ain't gonna serve and protect us, because if you did, y'all would have been contacting the parole and probation officer in Southeast Missouri for all them felons that came down to my house threatening me and my family. If y'all say it ain't racism down in City Hall, if you ain't racist, don't let it bother. If y'all ain't saying it ain't no racism in the housing authority and you ain't racist, don't let it bother. But one thing about me, I ain't gonna let damn human being on the face of this earth. You got blacks right now that's in a circle of people that's talking about me, and some of the people in the circle don't like them talking about me, and they let me know what they saying. But these are some of the same ones that I done helped years ago that can't hardly read and write. But one thing about it, for y'all, what we call in Islam, the whisper of evil, y'all whisper into the hearts of mankind and withdraw when you whisper. Come tell me what you got to say. Don't get in your crowd. I don't run in no crowd. But I'm gonna leave y'all with this here. I'm gonna continue to seek justice against Mark Higgins, Paul Page, and you cowards that killed my son and hung him and staged it as a suicide in Carbondale, Illinois. Now, when you get into groups like the NAACP and other civil rights groups, Justice for All groups, do your job. Don't just get on there when the birthdays and stuff, holidays come around, and you get to sitting there honoring each other. You ain't getting no honor. You don't get no honor when you ain't did nothing. A civil rights organization don't just talk about no doggone plumbing. You had plumbing problems here in Charleston, Missouri for the 26 years that I've been down here. You still have it. You complaining about they moved the voting over to the white Methodist church in the 1700 block of East Marshall Street. But hell, last year in September, some of you same ones that complaining about it, y'all was at the sheriff department right along with the sheriff who belongs to that church, the chief of police who belonged to that church, and other whites that belong to that church. Why didn't y'all go up there and call the news media like you did then when you was talking about blacks, talking about it's a cultural thing, that what the blacks was doing in Wilson City when the shooting was at the car show last year during Labor Day? I'm gonna leave y'all as I came. Justice for Brian Lamont Johns, justice for Bertie Mae Ivy II, justice for Queen Ramona Nicole Ivy, and justice for Raymond Lewis Ivy. We gonna seek justice from the cradle to the grave. Peace be still.
home earlier?
Yeah, I seen it on the security camera. What's this here?
Hey, I don't know. I come in for shift change and they asked me to deliver it from the housing authority. Oh, you okay?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right.
Who told you to deliver this?
Curtis Arnold, my relief.
Who is Curtis Arnold?
He's another officer.
Okay, why would they tell you to deliver something from the housing authority for me?
I don't know the details right now. I really don't.
Is the housing authority part of the police department?
No.
So they have you all, and you said, what is his name? Curtis what?
Arnold. He's not my partner. He works the shift before me.
So he's another officer.
Yes, sir.
And he had this here.
He said he come by earlier. He drove by, didn't see your car here, so he didn't stop.
So what car? These cars been here just about all day. One of them. You only seen.
Yeah, this one was
one.
home. Yeah.
Anyway, if you can call them and ask them, what would the housing authority give y'all something to give me for, and y'all not connected in no way that you know of, right?
Yeah, I don't know that we're connected in any way.
Cause I'm gonna see what this is, because I don't even know if I want to take it from you all. Well, I tell you what, you all, I'm gonna let y'all see what this here is. This is a piece of paper that the housing authority give the police department to give me, because of the fact that the white people in the project over here, you can go now. I keep it.
Okay.
But in the future, I mean, you a police officer.
You're correct, yes, sir.
And the other guy's a police officer, right?
Correct.
And did Bobby Hearns say y'all? Bobby Hearns y'all chief, right?
Yes, he is.
Did Bobby Hearns say y'all to give me this?
I don't know.
No, I'm saying, did he say, Arnold, did he tell you that Bobby Hearns said give me this?
No, he didn't say where he got it from.
He didn't say where he got it from.
No, he just said it was up there, it had to be served, and they requested.
Okay,
us to do
it had to be served, but it don't. This say Paul Page on it. Paul Page is the housing authority.
That's correct.
And Paul Page do not pay you all. They not on your payroll.
That's correct.
All right. I just want to let them know. Can you let them know what your name is?
Mark Higgins.
Mark Higgins from the Charleston, Missouri. I'm not